No, I was watching it late at night, and I was already tired, but I was also like alone in my dark room watching. I was like, you know what? Maybe I will finish this tomorrow morning in the day. So that doesn't really happen. I watch a lot of horror, and this one was a very special kind of very scary film. So. Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watcher Pass. Today I'm talking to co-writer and director Warren Skeels about The Man in the White Van, which is premiering at the Newport Beach Film Festival on October 14th, 2023. I'm going to talk to him right now, and while you're watching, if you can like and subscribe to this channel, that would be fantastic. I'll spend a lot. Thank you. Hey Warren, pleasure to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you too, David. Thanks for
Are
having
you?
me on.
Awesome. So thanks so much for joining me. Today I've got co-writer and director Warren Skeels talking about his film, The Man in the White Van, which is premiering at the Newport Beach Film Festival on October 14th, 2023. It is a film that is based on true events, but kind of tells its own story about this very tense, very kind of suspenseful situation that it's one of the most kind of like, I don't know, hold my breath films I've seen in a very long time. It kind of really gets under your skin and does a great job of building up. So I'm very excited to talk to you about this. And thanks so much for joining me.
Oh man, thanks so much for the kind remarks on the film. And certainly that's sort of the goal is to build this. I don't want to say a slow burn, but definitely a hot sizzle that kind of simmers and builds to a boiling point of kind of ratchets up to a thrilling climax. So I'm glad that came across.
Yeah, for sure. No, I was watching it late at night, and I was already tired, but I was also like alone in my dark room watching. I was like, you know what? Maybe I will finish this tomorrow morning in the day. So that doesn't really happen. I watch a lot of horror, and this one was a very special kind of very scary film. So.
I hope that sort of translates to an audience because we had so much fun making it, and I didn't. And that was actually sort of something I didn't really anticipate. I enjoy filmmaking, obviously. I more than enjoy. I love filmmaking, but finally being able to get sink my teeth into a suspense thriller, which is my favorite genre. It was just, I mean, it was so much fun on set, and working with Madison, Wolfe, the lead in particular. She's so easy to work with. It never feels like work. It's just like we're playing out here. And as a director, I try to do a lot of homework and put together a blueprint for the whole creative team and the talent as well, so that when we get there, we sort of have like our goals of what we're doing, but there's still a sense of play, and we can kind of change things up if we see something we really like a lot better, and and push in that direction.
That's awesome. That seems like the right way to do it. And I do love that you said that you love this genre, love suspense, because you could definitely tell, like, there were definitely some very smart camera angle choices, some really good, sound use. I got annoyed at you sometimes because there were some jump scares and I was not ready for those, but it was definitely a very well made, very well kind of constructed suspenseful film. So.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, look, the designers on the film, the production designer Lauren Spalding, I thought did a fabulous job. Tiger Curran, who was our costume designer, I just loved her exquisite work with it. We had a lot of fun with some of the characterization and costumes. In particular, the sister Margaret,
Mhm.
is like a little bit more of a popular kid at school. And then the cinematographer Gareth Paul Cox, I thought just really did an outstanding job capturing the kind of visual language of the film to really bring us back into that time period in 1974. And then, and also just, shooting with intention. It's something that we always, he and I have collaborated together for over a decade now. And that's a constant with us is, how are we telling story with the shot? How are we helping the intention of what we're trying to, push from a story standpoint whenever we're filming. So, hats off to the whole design team. They were pretty spectacular, and just loved the collaborative, work with them.
Yeah, for sure. And also hats off to the cinematographer for just some of the angles and the way that they made the van the most menacing thing in the film. Like, I have not been more unsettled about an inanimate object than I can remember. And I've seen all the Annabelle movies. Like, that thing became a character unto its own, which was a very impressive thing.
Yeah, he and I spent a couple of days just really trying to delve into what the best angles on that particular van were, because it's funny that model of van was There's like one angle on it that if you shoot it incorrectly, it sort of looks like the mystery van from Scooby-Doo, which is obviously not what we're trying to translate here. So, we took a lot of time to really kind of figure out which angles, how to light it, really just to bring about that sense of, ominous, mystery behavior from it. And another piece to it, but we really, while we were writing it, Sharon and myself, and then translating over to how we were shooting it, really wanted to view, the white van is really an extension of the villain in this film, who is essentially faceless, right? And we really wanted to bring out that sense of monster out of the van. And so we looked at a lot of monster movies, and what we certainly used Jaws, the original Jaws, as a reference. Just, because it's Spielberg, and I think of Spielberg as a master of suspense. And I don't think he gets enough credit in that capacity, and all the credit that he gets. I don't know if he gets enough credit in that capacity. But we really looked at Jaws as a sort of the gold standard of how to create a successful monster movie. And we, conceptually sort of thought of our van as a great white shark kind of moving in the depths in and around the victim before, coming up and striking.
Yeah, no, it's a great analogy. It constantly has to be moving, right? Like that's kind of what the great white shark has to do, and that's what the van does as well. So you mentioned your co-writer, Sharon. I'm just curious, this was inspired by true events. I assume that it was based on some actual events. What were those, and kind of what inspired you to write this movie, other than just your love of the genre and maybe your desire to make a suspense film?
Yeah, so the film is actually based on a personal account of the woman who was the main character in the story. So the character of Annie is based on this one woman's personal account, and she was a friend of a producing partner of mine, and we just kind of casually had dinner, and I was talking about true crime and a serial killer project I was developing, and he just kind of turned to me and said, "Well, have you heard what happened to my wife back in 1974 in Brooksville, Florida?" And she proceeded to share with me these really unsettling, scary interactions with the white van.
Oh God.
And I loved that it was rooted with her and her POV, and that sort of hung with me in a way that really kind of opened up a world of interest, because most serial killer stories are either told about the serial killer and just sort of first person perspective from them, or you follow the trajectory of an investigative reporter or a detective trying to find their mystery guy, right? But this was a story, because I was hearing it firsthand from the person in their account. That was the first impulse in the storytelling of it that kind of hit with me, and I thought it would be really interesting to tell the story of a completely unsuspecting protagonist, and a family that had reasonable disbelief that there was really anything going on, because of the time period in which this all takes place. Right now, I don't think this could ever happen. Where it's helicopter parents and sensationalized media. I know as a dad, as soon as my kid says something, I'd be like, what's going on? Come stand behind me. Let's go track this down. I'm calling the police. In 1970s, parents were not helicopter parents. It was very laissez-faire. I was a latchkey kid. Annie's a latchkey kid. And that mainstream media fear and danger lurking everywhere just didn't exist in small town America.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I love that you brought that point up, because when I was watching it, like, I got upset at like some of the reactions, because it's such a different time, and you're like, and I also got upset at Annie, even though she probably didn't have the right vocabulary and didn't really know what to say. Like, she wouldn't sometimes verbalize the horrible things that were happening to her. I don't know, maybe because she didn't want to get in trouble, maybe because she didn't want to like raise an alarm for whatever reason.
Well, no,
sometimes take her time.
Yeah, to your point, I think that there's a bit of Annie who also didn't want to bring the negative attention on herself if others weren't concerned about it. And so even though she had an internal alarm sort of going off that something's not right here, and after her initial sort of attempt to notify, the parents, the powers that be, that, and getting their response that nothing was, alarming them, then I think she just didn't want the negative attention about it, just wanted to be able to continue to live her life and not deal with this weirdo driving a van until it became a major problem.
As would we all. We'd all want to just kind of ignore that until we can't. So you mentioned Annie's character, played by Madison Wolfe, and then also her sister, played by Brec Bassinger. How did you get those two? They had such a fun, painful dynamic. How did you get them involved, and how did you kind of get that chemistry right?
Well, it's certainly, when we were casting it, that was one of the things that to me was really, really crucial, was capturing it's just, I mean, to a certain extent, it's a sister. I really look at this as not a family story necessarily, but it's really a sister story. And so capturing that camaraderie and, love and annoyance and all the sort of nuances of a sister relationship was really important. And so during the casting process, we found Madison first, and then it was really finding that contrasting sister who, is believable to be a family member, but also, capable of bringing, the contrasting behavior, and somebody that was just going to really have a lot of fun and play together. And so when we, that really translated, eventually over into rehearsals. I was lucky enough to get about a week of rehearsals with them on location, and we just had a blast just playing around and trying things so many different ways. And I would send them off to go off on their own and have fun and hang out and do things together, so that they really could bond and become sisters for the 5 weeks together.
That is awesome. And also, I loved when I was watching this scene, Sean Astin and Ali Larter in this. I was just like, oh my God, like these are amazing actors. How did you get them involved? Had you worked with them before? Was it just kind of luck of the draw?
I have not actually worked with either of them before. During the casting process, they, their names were, as we were looking for parents, both of their names, kind of came up in the casting process, and there was interest from both of them. Sean read the script and really loved the story and came on board, and Ali equally. We had a few conversations about the intent of the film, and she just really loved the concept, the idea, and the time period and what was happening. And she also works with an organization, the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children, and as a result, we actually have a partnership with them with the film, in terms of helping bring awareness to the work that they're doing through the film. And I think a percentage of the proceeds, I don't know what exactly it is, but I know some kind of percentage of proceeds, something, are going to be, sent their way as well. So Ali came on board, Sean came on board, and the two of them were just, adamant professionals, and really, they had a lot of fun too, and we just had a blast working together and becoming a family all together. And Gavin Warren, who plays Daniel in it, the brother, the five of them and myself just all kind of, we worked together for a few days, and just really kind of found that, just to find the right ingredients. And I think when you're casting, that's really, all the actors are really, different ingredients, and they all sort of represent a different spice that they're going to bring to the table. And I just loved them as a family, and still do. They're near and dear to my heart. We had a great time working together, and I love to work with all of them again.
For sure, for sure. And you can see all those lovely ingredients, the like beautiful family environment and the tense, horror build up in The Man in the White Van, which is premiering at the Newport Beach Film Festival on October 14th, 2023. I imagine it'll run the festival circuit before some sort of release later on in the year or early next year. But you can wait for that. If you see it near you, check it out. It is a very, very tense, very good thriller. This is co-writer and director Warren Skeels. Thank you so much for your time.
David, thank you so much. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it.
That was Warren Skeels, the co-writer and director of The Man in the White Van, which is premiering at the Newport Beach Film Festival on October 14th, 2023. It is an unsettling, tense thriller that is based on true events, but has its own kind of independent story to relate to them. It is very, very tense. It definitely has a really strong buildup and a really kind of scary overall story. If you like this interview, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.